Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, the entirely merciful and the specially merciful. Dear viewers across this planet, I greet you with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, I'm reminding you of the name of these episodes in the beautiful month of Ramadan. It's the way or one of the ways to paradise. So fasting in reality is a way to paradise, a road to paradise. And we need to walk through this road so that it will end up with us, hopefully, inshallah. And we are sure of that with the will of Allah, that we will access it, inshallah. Ameen. Ameen. Again and again, during these episodes, I'd like to focus on this concept that had been slightly diminishing in the talks of people in the month of Ramadan. That is the concept of taqwa, piety as it is translated, or being more conscious of Allah, or more precisely, that's getting more protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala against the anger and the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are gaining protection and layers of protection to protect ourselves from being exposed to hellfire. Taqwa. And I'm reminding you, how many times you will hear the imams or the khatibs or the speakers in the month of Ramadan mentioning this ayah that talks about كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. We always hear it, which means, oh you believers, fasting is prescribed upon you as it had been prescribed on the previous nations, so that you would get more taqwa. That is, you are doing the fasting for your own benefit. We are doing the fasting willingly because we know that it is for our benefits. Allah does not benefit from our fasting. Allah does not benefit from our salat. Allah does not benefit from all our good deeds. We are the ones who earn and gain these benefits. What do we gain from this fasting? Do you think we gain hunger? Does Allah want us to keep us hungry and thirsty? Not at all. The purpose and the goal is taqwa, to reach taqwa. We cannot get this level of taqwa unless we do these kinds of ibadat. I want this beautiful meaning to be deeply rooted in our hearts and in our actions. We are doing this to gain taqwa, to gain more layers of protection. We get the protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala against hellfire, against any kind of punishment. We want to get this taqwa. We cannot get these taqwa without getting shields. These shields are the things that we are gaining in Ramadan. Shields of taqwa, layers of taqwa, layers of protection. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers. You know that in winter, in cold countries and in cold seasons, we are advised by doctors, we are advised by our parents to wear layer after layer of clothes to protect our bodies from the severity of the cold. By the same token, we are doing this. We are fasting day after day after day. We are perfecting these kinds of, so it's a high quality of layer. We're not just buying a layer, a shield to put it around our bodies. We are getting the best of it. That's why the more perfect, the more high quality we do our ibadat, particularly in this month, the ibadah of fasting, the more layer, the more quality layers we have, the more taqwa we gain. So we are the ones who benefit. And we want everybody to end the season of Ramadan as we end any kind of ibadah. We end it with this concept of win-win situation, not win-lose situation at all. We want to be in the same all the time, winning and winning and winning. Win-win situation, which tells us that we, inshallah, by the end of this month, we will get more taqwa, inshallah. So here, this requires us to be very conscious and to be very aware of the difference between two things: the actual and physical things that we do in our fasting and the goal from this. The actual things that we do is that the abstention from food, the abstention from drinks, the abstention from the halal of intimacy relationship with our spouses. It is halal things. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us even to be away from these halal things. What is the goal? What is the purpose for that? If we get used to obey Allah in even keeping ourselves away from these halal things, by default, we can keep ourselves from doing the haram, the illegal things. So it is a step, a practical step and practical coaching to everyone to be inside this field of practice. So you get much and more and more and more practice to do these things with the intention that by doing this, we can become stronger in standing against the evil things, in standing against wine, in standing against gambling, in standing against any kind of thing that Allah does not like. We train ourselves. It takes us an entire month since early years, as you see that. The kids, the Muslim kids, are doing a wonderful job in this. They compete with each other that they want to fast even at the age of 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years, although they are not supposed to, but we are encouraged to support them, train them, so that it becomes easy for them when they reach the level of this kind of age that they are supposed to do that. But again and again, I have to focus on this, and you have to focus on it, and everybody has to focus on it. The purpose is not the food and not the drink. No. We keep ourselves from this to train ourselves to obey Allah, so that we can also at the same time we have, which is more important, we have to keep ourselves away from looking at haram things, saying something that's haram, backbiting people, or doing anything that's negative. In our language today, we say that we are trying to eliminate the opportunities of negative things and to increase the opportunities of doing positive things according to the criteria of Islam. It's not according to human criteria. It's according to what Allah says. So we have said, and we will say it, and we'll focus on it, and we'll repeat it regularly until it becomes part of ourselves, part of our thinking. This tongue has to be trained more and more and more to keep away from doing the bad things, from saying any kind of falsehood, from backbiting anybody, from saying the non-truth. It requires training. And this is the month. And this is the focus. When you train your kids, when you ask your kids to observe Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, you have to focus on this. It's not the food, it's not the bread, it's not the sweets that they keep away from. Rather, it is something more important. It's not the materialistic things. Rather, it is the fear of Allah, being conscious of Allah, and being away from using all the organs that Allah created in us, to use them correctly, Islamically correct. Never use your eye in the haram. Allah created these eyes and He made them responsible for observing and watching only the halal things, not the haram things. Even I have seen some teachers and professors are teaching their kids, young kids, when they see anything that's haram, they close their eyes. They close their eyes because they are not trained. But once you are trained, you can wink your eyes. You can not, or you can overlook it. You can skip looking at it. We know this is the amount of these illegal things are spreading everywhere. But that's why, if it is around you, avoid looking around you and look in the bottom. If something is here, avoid it and close it to the degree that you can do a lot of things. Focus your eyes on the Quran more than on magazines. Focus your eyes on listening to the words of Allah than listening to what you hear in the broadcast. All the time, try to eliminate the negative situations around you as much as you can. As much as you can. And here is the level of reward you get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more you keep these things away from your way, from your road, the better for you, and the better for me, and the better for everyone. This kind helps us acquire and gain resistance. So we become so resistant to these things. You resist, you resist, you resist, you resist every day. Unless we do these things, we are not really fasting. As the Prophet ﷺ explained it in the famous hadith that says, if a person cannot control his tongue or control his eyes, he cannot specifically control his tongue from saying anything that's haram, that Allah does not really need you to keep yourself away from the food or the drinks. What is the benefit? Allah does not get any benefit. You are the one to get benefit. How are you going to get the benefit from keeping away from the food? If keeping away from the food does not help you to keep your tongue away from saying the falsehood, or from saying something haram, or from doing anything that's illegal, the food itself is not. Abstaining from the food is not the goal. As I said, I'm going to continue focusing on this meaning. in every episode, because this is something that perhaps some of the imams or some of the teachers and speakers do not focus on a lot. The ultimate goal that we are, all of us, trying to achieve by the end of Ramadan is getting the manners of ourselves to be improved, to be much better than we began Ramadan, or that were before the beginning of Ramadan. Before the beginning of Ramadan, perhaps you may say 1 or 2 or 3 negative words per day before Ramadan. Take a decision and decide on that and work on yourself to eliminate, even if they are 3, try to keep them to the minimum. This is the goal. This is the target. You perhaps used to do things that are un-Islamically before the month of Ramadan. And this is the period, the coaching period for all of us to get enough training so that you can move from level A to level B. You need a time to be trained, and this is the time. And this is one of the goals of Ramadan. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, hoping that you get these layers of protection. So this would be the purpose of today. Let's say that you used to spend, even some people, unfortunately, may Allah forbid, until now, they would observe the movies, they would watch these things on the screens, on the internet, or their TV screens. This has to be eliminated as much as we can. We know that there are some forces and some elements try to be very active in Ramadan. They bring all the movies in Ramadan so that the purpose is to take you away from your ibadah, to deprive you from the benefits and from the rewards that are waiting for you. These rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our goals. Let's be focused. Let's be oriented to that. Let's not focus our attention in the month of Ramadan, and let's all the time resort to Allah's power to give us support during the month of Ramadan and outside the month of Ramadan and throughout all our lives, so that we would pass our life, we spend our life on this planet in the way that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as we can. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.